Hello friends, welcome to Akulmach Live and my name is Chandrakant. Last week, FATF meeting got over and there are some interesting facts which have come out from this particular meeting of so many FATF members, and we are going to analyze one of the very surprising facts which has come out, and let me take you there. And this is about the Turkey, which is a very popular, very rich country, very European country, first world country that has been, gotten in their position into gray list. So why Turkey has gotten into a gray list? We will analyze the whole fact and a little bit history behind it. And there is a grey list also, FATF grey list, but there are very few countries in the blacklist, sorry, and which is North Korea, Afghanistan, and Iran. But there are many countries in the grey list. The grey list consists of the list of countries which are involved in some sort of terrorist activities, some sort of money laundering, generating black money, and routing it using some mechanisms and eventually funding the terrorist activity. So FATF is one of the task force which has been created. FATF stands for Financial Action Task Force. It's a global community of countries which evaluate what is going on across the world and then make sure that there are no terrorist funding or some nefarious activities being deliberately planned by different countries. So this is a group which ensures that, and this is backed by a global consortium of countries, and all the major countries are here. There are 36 permanent members and then others which are elected, and as you can see, all the major countries are here, including India and China, US, UK, etc. So it's a consortium of all the major countries who want to, and these are all democratic countries. I think that is also one of the important point. There are no dictators here. There is either there are multi-party systems in these nations or a single party system, and these are the countries which derives the freedom and also ensure that there is no nefarious activities being planned by anyone across the world. So we already know that our neighbor, Pakistan, has been in the grey list for many years now. They were put in grey list in 2015. However, India has been battling the proxy war from Pakistan for almost 3 decades. Initially, the global community did not listen to us, but I think they have now got a clear picture. They have given enough chances to Pakistan for not to harbor terrorists in their own country. And if you look at any terrorist outfit which have been banned by United Nations, you will find them there. So I think they have continued to be in the grey list. The FATF has given them a lot of tasks. They have fulfilled many tasks, but the major 4 tasks have not been fulfilled yet, which is to ensure that the United Nations designated terrorist group and terrorists to be tried and brought to books, the legal books by them, and they have completely failed in doing that, and yet they are harboring these terrorist group and terrorists in their country, which are creating a global pandemic of terrorism across the world. So yet again Pakistan has been duly selected go back to the grey list, which they have been already, and because of that Pakistan is facing a lot of heat, lot of economic heat. I will explain why FATF grey list is not a very good thing. You should get out of grey list as soon as possible if by chance you get in there. There are countries which are in grey list, countries like free tax havens like Mauritius, Cayman Island also are in grey list because they were the tax havens. We will cover more details about that in a bit. Interesting thing is, Pakistan's closest friend is Turkey. Turkey not only provide them moral support, but also financial support, and also militarily they also support them by giving them different technologies and all that. And if you know, Turkey has been one of the key ally of NATO. and there is a largest NATO base in Turkey, in Europe. So they have a lot of know-how. They are a first world country. Their per capita income is 5 times of India per capita income, and it is a European country. Uh, and they were a rich country. I mean, all this while they were a very rich country. They had a big history also, art and culture. People are quite outgoing type people. They are citizens and also very open-minded. I think you need to also understand the Turkey geo position, global political positions. They are they are the sort of a country which creates a bridge between Asia and Europe. And if you see, they are in a very disturbed area. Their boundary touches all the bad places like Syria, Iran, Iraq, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and all that. So there is so much conflict happening in their neighboring countries, so they play a very big role in geopolitical environment. At the same time, what has happened is that I mean, if you go back in history, they were very rich nation. They were Roman for many years, almost like 2,500 years. Even after the fall of Rome, the Roman Empire continued in Turkey, present day Turkey, until 1400 AD. After that, the Ottomans actually defeated the Romans, and after that, they converted the people forcibly into Islam. So these Ottoman Turks created an Islamic role in Turkey, and they converted the population into Islam to follow the Islamic religion. So converted everybody from different religion, either Christian or Roman or anybody else, into Islamic. So their population is all mostly Islamic, majority. However, the people carry a totally different outlook. Unlike if you take a name of any other Islamic country, you'll always get this feeling: hey, women are not allowed to go out. You know, they will have to put a veil on their face, and a lot of these orthodox tradition, the Islamic tradition. But in Turkey, because the people always have this feeling that they were forcibly converted, so they never really followed the Islamic values so vehemently until this current president came. I mean, they were doing something in 1800th century that we're not going too much back in history, but the Erdogan is the current president. And during his reign, the first reign of first 10 years, the Turkey has touched very good economic heights, and they actually improved their business manifold. And because Erdogan was able to draw power out of this success, and that is when he showed his real color in 2009-2010 timeframe, where he wants to bring the Islamic rule into Turkey. And suddenly he's changed gear and he's become more orthodox, and he wants to basically make his people more radicalized. So this is what is happening for last over a decade now in Turkey. And he is now helping all terrorist activities across the world. And this is one of the large bank called Halk Bank. It's a Turkish bank. They have been penalized, and there is sanction on this bank by the global community for funding billions of dollars in Iran and other places to carry out terrorist attacks across the world. So this is one particular example which is facing the heat right now, and there is a lot of backlash because of that. At the same time, the Erdogan does not like the liberal ways of doing things. He wants to take his country back to the Ottoman period, and he wants to implement the Islamic value system in his country for last 10 years. And I think he's become sort of a dictator, where he always says that it is my way or the highway. We will actually discuss more on that. Another thing I will have to talk about is this is the central bank of Turkey, and like any other country, there is a bond. Bonds are sold to people, and if you look at any country, the bond is the biggest deposit. So you give a return on the deposit. So a lot of money comes in the form of bond for any government. All countries do it. India does it. US does it. There are the government bonds which are provided, and these are typically long-term infrastructure bonds. So in Turkey, the return on the bond is now 20%. So if you compare the bond system in India, when you buy a government bond, which is a tax-free return, you deposit your money for 5 years, you will get about 5 to 6% return after every year, accumulated for 5 years, and then you will get your money tax-free. So this is how a bond system works, and this is by and large the bond system works across the world. But in Turkey, their bond is now return is now 20%. That means whenever the depositor come back to Turkey to take that money back, Turkey will have to give 20% return on year on year to the depositor. It's very high. So it shows clearly that how the money will be generated for this country. And at the same time, the currency has crashed, because when you are bringing this Islamic value system and you hate the interest word. In fact, Erdogan has several occasions in his speeches, he has said that the interest is the evil of all mother and father of all evils. So this is the thought process, and you're actually behaving like a dictator. That means my way or the highway. You're not listening to any sane voice in that country. You want to implement what you think. So the country's economy is sliding down, 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 because you can actually behave like a dictator, but you can't control the market, even though you're a dictator. You can rule over people. You can do whatever you want. You can always say my way or highway, but you can't control the market. So the market has stayed away from Turkey, and because of that, gradually over 10 years, their currency has been devalued. Now, I'll tell you that, as I told you that Turkey was a rich country, and their currency was pretty strong with as compared to rupee. Few years back, their currency lira was valued at 25 rupees for 1 lira. And today, even though Indian rupees has also lost against US dollars, the lira is crashed so badly that it is now 7 rupees. So you see, the Indian rupees has also crashed a little bit, has lost its shine against dollars, and lira has crashed so badly it is now 7 rupees. So it is completely wiped out, and it is almost like 1/3, more than 1/3 drop in their currency value. So nobody wants to deal with you. Nobody wants to buy your currency. There is no value in your currency. At the same time, there is a huge deficit on your economy of 210 billion. And the FDI is almost a deficit of 20%. That means whatever money you could have got by attracting foreign investors, by setting up different manufacturing unit in your country, there is a deficit of almost $20 billion in that country. So the country is passing through a very bad economic, from the economic point of view. On top of it, you are now put into a gray list. That means gray list is an indication of how risky is that country. So if you're in a gray list, it is the global community telling everyone that if you want to do business with this country, with anyone in this country, you are at risk. That means there is no chance of you recovering your, forget the profit, even recovering your initial principal investment. So this is the meaning of gray list. That means as it is, you have slided down so much in last 10 years, and now you are put in gray list. So this is a matter of concern. An interesting thing, which is sort of a laughable matter, which is that the few months back, Turkey promised Pakistan, hey, I will help you come out of the FATF grey list, but now they themselves are part of grey list. So they will have to do something drastic in order to come out. And then if they start taking these actions today, it will take some time for them to come out of this precarious situation they are in. So they are sliding down. even though there are countries like Mauritius and other countries, as I said in the beginning, they have been able to rectify their issues, and they have been able to get out of the gray list, and they are into white list now. So primarily because the Mauritius was a tax haven, and these tax havens are used for these different money laundering activities. So Mauritius has fixed those gaps, and now they are out of it. So Turkey has to now stop behaving like a bully, and stop promising other countries, small countries like Pakistan, hey, I will help you come out. I think they have to watch their own deeds and activities and ensure goodwill of their people, which are very good. Actually, I feel their population is very good. And I think they have to seriously come out of this dictatorial method of governance, and they have to see that, how they can listen to their economic voices which are coming from their own country. So friends, this is something which happened last week, and I thought it requires our attention. Do send in your messages. I will reply to each one of them, and I will catch you in the next one. Hello friends, this is Akulmach Live, and I'm Chandrakant, and today is Friday, and we thought we will have a little bit of fun. And when we talk about fun, I think we are trying to see, understand the common problem that all of us have, that is honking, and what this honking tells about your personality. To discuss this, I will be joined by my good friend from UK, Mr. Naval Gund. So I will take a short break. We'll join you back along with my guest. Don't go anywhere. Hey Naval, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, CK. Good morning, everybody. Beep, beep. Beep, beep. Have you heard that today already? I have, and I haven't even been in the car. I've heard it from my study, where people just put their hand on the honk or their foot on the honk or whatever it is. So today we're going to be talking about being a happy honker. CK, are you a happy honker?
Come on, Naval, I'm an Indian. I love to honk. Honking is in my blood. I like to honk for no reason.
Well, the thing is, there is a reason. And well, I don't think we're going to talk about the reasons today. But the thing about it is, when you look at people that do, press the horn, because it's a warning system. That's what it's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be telling people around you to wake up, or, have a look at what's going on, because you may have missed it. So it's being a friend to other people. I mean, that's the starting point of this. It's that being aware, helping others be aware. Something's happening, you've seen it, maybe the other person hasn't seen it. Does that make sense, CK? It's an early warning system?
Well, technically it is an early warning system, but we honk for no reason. I've seen people on the signal, and their thumb is always pressing after every 5 seconds, pee, 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 for no reason. They are so desperate to get out, and they want to, so desperate to ask the driver in the front to get out of the way immediately, just get out, I need to go straight, and the light is still red, they keep honking. So I think what you said technically is right, but when it comes to practice, it is not so right, Neville.
Well, right or wrong, people honk. And I have noticed that the way people honk these days is changing quite a lot, really. Certainly in India, when I was out there, it was almost like it is part of your right. It's in the statute books. If you don't honk, there's something wrong with you. From little motorbikes that are out there that sound like Roadrunner, meep, 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 to the real big, horns that come with these huge lorries. Get out of the way, It's a bit like a train's coming through, or you haven't seen me. What on earth are you doing? But I wanted to have a little experiment, CK. Are you up for an experiment?
Yes, I'm your guinea pig, Neville. Shoot it.
Well, you're my honking guinea pig. I did a little experiment a few years ago, and I do this from time to time, whenever I'm bored, really. I was in traffic. Doesn't matter where I was. It was in Asia, that part of the world, and we were in some serious traffic. And all you could hear was honking. Can you just imagine, everyone going beep, beep, honk, honk, and the thing is, it was going on for so long, it was quite clear that some of these batteries were going to run down because, a lot of vehicles on the road in that particular area are not particularly well maintained. And you could just hear that as over time, it must have been 20 minutes, maybe twice as long as that, maybe 40 minutes. And you could actually hear some of the noises be muted. You know what it's like when a battery starts to run down, CK? And so I said to the driver, let's just have a bit of fun here. And the driver was up for it. I said, do you know any popular music that you could, play out on your horn? And he said, I've done this with my children. It was a foreign language, so I had an interpreter. I've done this with my children before, and we've had a bit of fun. I said, okay, well, let's have a bit of fun now. So he just started to play a tune on his car horn. And it was really quite amazing because as the tune became more repetitive, the people around our car sort of started to look over into the vehicle I'm hearing something that's got a melody now. It's not a me, 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 me. It's got some form of melody. And what happened was they stopped beeping their car. They took their hand off the horn. And more people were looking round. And the driver was having so much fun. He was adding the drums to it as well, bashing away on the steering wheel and hitting the horn. So he was having a whale of a time. So he was almost like a busker, a one-man band in his car with just this one horn, which had one tone. And then what we noticed, after 2 or 3 minutes, other people started to join in with the same tune. So it was almost like there was an orchestra playing in that one area. And of course, as lots more people join in, the noise goes up and it was deadening out all of this other honking that was going on. Now, we didn't get out of the car and walk, a quarter of a mile up the road to find out if anyone else had started in. But the fact of life is everyone started to have a bit of fun. And they were smiling and laughing, and all the angst and aggravation about being stuck in traffic had been taken away. So have you ever done that in the car, CK? I've done it many times with the kids, and they love it. Have you ever done that in the car with your kids?
No, Neville, I have not done this. Because in India, what you get is you have a horn in the front, and you also have horn with connected to the reverse gear. So there are all kinds of melodies, you keep hearing, and these reverse gear horns are very melodious. It will play some famous Hindi movie song, and so some states have banned these reverse horns, but then there are 29 states, 1.3 billion Indians. You can't stop everyone. So honking is a big part of our culture, I think.
Honking is a culture. Yes, I've heard all of these. Be careful. This vehicle is reversing. This vehicle is reversing. Beep, beep. This vehicle is reversing. I mean, we get them all the time, really. And again, it's just a reminder that these are warning systems. These are warning systems. But if you're going to be stuck in traffic in future, just have a little bit of fun. You know, if you really do feel as though you should be beeping away, then beep away to a tune and just see what happens to the people around you. I mean, I'm regularly, you know, when I'm stuck in traffic, I don't beep away, but I'll have my music on, and if a particular song comes on where there's drums or trombone or trumpets or what have you, I'll be bashing away on the steering wheel, and I'm sure, you know, many other people look over and think, whatever he's doing, we need to be away from him. So it's probably a good way to get people to get out of the way. But the point about today is be a happy honker, you know, because most people I see in vehicles where they've got the hand on the horn, it is this red lights ahead. I mean, you can't go anywhere, but they're taking frustration out on it, and you can see this sort of anger in their faces. But let's try and turn that today, just for a Friday, let's turn that on its head and become a happy honker. What do you think? Can we run a competition of people that can literally on their phone record themselves honking away when they're stuck in traffic? And let's see if we can guess the tune.
Well, that's a very good idea. In fact, this session is live, and people who are watching, they can actually submit their clips if they have. Otherwise, they can submit it later. I think it will be very interesting for involvement of people. And I think most of the people are honking. I think they're used to honking. I'm sure there are a lot of motor mouth kind of videos people would have. They can submit it here and we can have a little bit of fun. But I think you made a very important point. I think on a serious note, when you see people honking, what it tells about their personality, I think that is something also is important, because people honk in a different way. Sometimes it's frustration, sometimes for no reason, as I said, and sometimes for actually sending a warning signal. So, you know, what do you think? You know, different people, can you, put them in certain spreadsheet based on how they honk about their personality? What do you think, Neville?
Well, I'm sure people will try to do that. I think what we can find out, we certainly will know someone's personality if they really do put their hand on the horn and don't take it off. But the fact of life is, if you're stuck in traffic, if there's a red light in front of you, guess what? I really would like to go. I would like to move forward. So anyone around me, if you're honking me to get out of the way, the real bad news is I have no choice. I have to wait for that light to change. I've been there many times this week, actually. This is the summer season of roadworks we have in the UK. Because it's good weather, and I say that very jokingly, because we've had thunderstorms and goodness knows what else over the last few weeks. But because it's good weather, there's lots of construction activity on the roads. And just locally, we've got temporary traffic lights. And the worst thing about temporary traffic lights is you don't know that they're going to be there. There's no advance warning. All of a sudden, you just see this traffic light on a road that normally you're traveling along and there's literally no speed limits. Well, no real speed limits. You know, you're going along at the usual 30 or 40 mile an hour, depending upon what the local requirements are. But on my road, it's a 30 mile an hour road. And you just don't expect to see a traffic light in front of you. Anyway, the traffic lights were there. And regularly, you know, even when I'm in the car or I take a walk around the corner every now and again, I will see people beep the person in front because they hadn't noticed the lights changed. And some people are so fast at getting on that honk. You know, our lights go from red, amber, and then green. So the red amber is green's coming, you know. But as soon as sometimes the red amber goes, I hear people get on the horn. You know, in other words, wake up in front. You know, it's about time you're moving. I'm a very important person. I need to be somewhere. You know, get out of my way. I've paid my taxes. I paid my road tax. I need to be on my way. And that's the reality of what we've got here. So you can sort of extrapolate someone's personality by their horn behavior. So why not have everyone being a happy horner or a happy honker, as they say, or as we've just decided to call it, the new hashtag. Are you a happy honker? And then what we can actually find out is that everyone's happy. But the reality of life is they won't be. But, you know, what do you think, CK? Can we have happy honker trending just from this little fun on Friday?
I think we can have a happy honker trending, because anyway nobody's driving nowadays, so we can do that. Otherwise it's quite annoying, you know. Keep hearing honking all the time is quite annoying, and the more you honk, that means more desperate you are, and that is the one trait that you get, you know. The person who's more desperate will honk more. And one more thing, Neville, even though it's a funny episode we are doing today, but I think honking will lead to road rage, because if the honking does not yield result as desired by the driver, the next step is basically he gets out of the car and gets into a rage kind of a situation. So I think we need to stop honking. While the episode name is Happy Honking, but I think we can talk about it during lockdown and we are all stuck in our homes, because anyway nobody is driving. I think we should come out with a different kind of honking system, because it's a time for AI, where the vehicles can be connected using some signaling process, and without making any noise you can just press the honk and the nearby cars can beep some light that there is some warning or stuff like that. So I think there is a time for innovation, and we can get out of this usual honking, because I think this is medieval from our standard, you know. People were doing honking 100 years back, we are still honking. So I think we need to move forward from there and do something about it. Don't you think so?
Well, I love the trip into technology. I'm sure there's someone listening that's got an app in mind, you know. Perhaps you can create a happy honking app. There you go. There's a challenge for you, any young person out there that fancies a bit of fun on a Friday, and send it to us and we'll push it round. Because like anything else, just as you were speaking, I could hear someone honking in the background. So, you know, whether it's your end or my end, it's actually getting through the airwaves, and it's traveled several thousand miles between me and you. So let's just have a little bit of fun today. Let's see if we can change the mood of a nation. You know, if you're stuck in traffic, you don't want to be stuck in traffic. The people that have designed the roads don't want you stuck in traffic. You know, they've designed the roads actually to make traffic flow freely so that you can get to your destination in a comfortable way, so that you're unflustered, you don't get angry, you don't get annoyed. The last thing they want is a very angry driver. You know, when we're on the road, we all need to be friends to everybody. You know, give people the right of way if they've got it, and don't take any silly moves. You know, don't move from one lane to the next and become that road rager that people don't like. So, bit of fun today. For all of those that are listening, it's hashtag happy honking or hashtag happy honker. So are you a happy honker, CK?
Actually, I can say I'm a happy honker as long as my honk is melodious. So I think I'm going to try this idea which you gave us today, which is, you know, train your thumbs to press the horn in such a way it comes out like a Mozart.
Well, it's actually funny because as we speak, I've just had a text in from someone who's watching BBC News, and they've got the cricket on. And in the background, you can hear people hooting away. It's at Lord's, you know, the home of cricket in the UK. And apparently someone yesterday was sitting in traffic outside, probably a taxi driver, and they were honking the music to the introduction to cricket over here, which is okay. So there's the rendition that they did yesterday. I didn't know about that, but it's a friend of mine that's just literally texted me because he's listening in. So we can all have a little bit of fun. You know, no one wants to be stuck in traffic, let's face it. But you can take your temperature down, take your pressure down, and utilize these ears, or what's in between these ears, for a little bit more fun. And yet again, I hear a little beep in the background. So there you go. Happy Honking Day to everybody. It's now official. This is Happy Honking Day.
I think we can end our discussion on this positive note, Neville. And thank you so much for finding time and joining us to make our show very hilarious and also meaningful at the same time. We will catch up with you next week at same time on some other interesting subject. Have a nice weekend, Neville.
And everybody else, enjoy today. Take the frustration out of driving and just relax. Have a little bit of fun when you're stuck. Take care.
Hello, welcome to our series of Great Rishis of India. My name is Kanchan Verma. And you know that today we are discussing one of the greatest Sapt Rishi, Jamad Agni. Jamad Agni is one of the greatest rishis of Hindu culture. And he is also a father of Parshuram, the incarnation of Vishnu, and he is also related to Bhrigu. And it is also said that he is being created by Brahmaji with his Brahmaji, the god of creation. Jamadagni is well versed in inscription and weaponry, which is very, very important, and this is his contribution because he has not taken any formal training for weaponry. Jamadagni had 5 sons from Renuka Devi. Renuka Devi is one of the Devis which is being worshipped, especially in South India. Jamadagni was born from Satyavati, and you know Vishwamitra is also related to Jamadagni. And as I mentioned, Parshuram is the most famous son and is a known character in Indian history. Until Renuka's beheading episode, Jamadagni is often projected as impulsive and anger-driven. Parshuram was granted 3 boons by Jamadagni after beheading Renuka, for which he prayed for the following wishes, from Jamadagni. First is to bring back all his brother back to life with the memories of past without the episode of beheading. Second is bring Renuka Devi, which is Parshuram's mother and Jamadagni's wife, back to life. And then third boon Parshuram asked from Jamadagni is that he should relinquish anger and use his knowledge for the betterment of mankind. Jamadagni has contributed in writing Vedas and is more inclined to teaching of Vedas in those times. According to Mahabharata, Jamadagni also became one time very annoyed, as I mentioned, that he has a great temper with the sun, because once upon a time he was walking and he felt too much of heat, and this warrior sage, as we have discussed, he was good in weaponry. He shoot many arrows towards sun, and then sun became terrified and he came and appeared before the rishi and offered a gift. One is charan paduka, which we call in English sandals, and another is umbrella. So I feel that this is a contribution which is being done by Jamadagni. Maybe two people, Surya and Jamadagni, invented umbrella in those times. Growing up, his studies and achievement on Veda, as I mentioned, he used his science of weaponry in many ways. His father also instructed how to really use weaponry and study weaponry. One of the very interesting episode about Jamadagni is that there was a king, Kartavya Arjun. It is said that he had 100 arms and 100 hands. And one time he came to Jamadagni's ashram, and there was a Kamdhenu cow, which is considered a very pious, and she can deliver any of food items to people. And then this king, he said that I want this cow because if I have this cow, then there will be no shortage of food in my palaces and in my empire. But Jamadagni said, no, this is my cow. It's been given by gods to him. But this Arjuna king didn't listen to him. He took that cow, Kamdhenu cow, forcefully. When Parshuram came and he heard about this episode, then he became very angry. Parshuram, being the youngest son, is being loved by Jamadagni very much. But Parshuram went to the palace of Kartavya Arjuna, and he killed that king and bring back the Kamdhenu cow in the ashram. When this episode was heard by the Kartavya Arjun's son, he had 3 sons, and they became very angry, and immediately they went to the ashram of Jamadagni. At that time, Parshuram was not there, and all 3 brothers killed Rishi. And when Parshuram came back and he found that his father is being killed by the sons of Arjuna, and then he became very angry, and this whole anger, this whole episode became instrumental for Parshuram killing Kshatriya, the warrior clans of India, 21 times. Though I'm talking about Jamadagni. Jamadagni is a Saptarishi, as I mentioned, but I think he is closely associated with Parshuram because Parshuram was his son. A part of this, his contribution is towards teaching Vedas in those times to the public. So something which I would like to share with you, and he is also one of the Saptarishi. So we'll be meeting again with another Rishi of India. Till then, bye-bye, and you take care. Hello, welcome to Akulmach Live, and I'm Kanchan Verma. And today, you know that in the series of great rishis of India, we are discussing about Agastya Rishi. He is a very profound personality, and he is very famous, not in India, but also in Indian subcontinent. Agastya was an Indian sage of Hinduism in traditional Indian tradition. He is noted as influential scholar in diverse language of Indian subcontinent. He and his wife Lopamudra are celebrated author of hymn in Sanskrit and text Rig Veda and other Vedic literature. The hymn composed by Agastya are known as verbal play, smiles, puzzles, puns, and striking imaginary embedded within his spiritual messages. Agastya appeared in numerous Itihas and Puran, including the major Ramayana and Mahabharata. He is one of the 7 most celebrated Saptarishi in the Vedic text, and he is also considered as Tamil Siddhar, which is, I mean, somebody who has attained a position of Siddhi, a position of spirituality, a position of equal to the God, and that too in the area of Shaivism, because he is a staunch believer in God Shiva. And when we talk about Tamil tradition, the Tamil tradition is also kind of grammar is invented by Agastya Rishi in Tamil literature. And he is also pioneer in the development of Tambra Panyan medicine, which is related to copper vessel medicines. And spiritually also there are many Shiva center and Sri Lanka and South India. He is also considered as the ultimate Puranic literature author. Now, when we talk about Agastya Rishi, and it is very, very important to mention about Agastya Samhita, his written book. And it is considered as, he can be considered very easily about skill which he was having, which is of gemology. That means he has a very unique art of understanding gems and jewelry, and in several other Sanskrit texts on gem, and also credited to him, he has written the various influences and various types of gems and how you can make jewelry out of it. In Tamil tradition, Agastya is considered as the father of Tamil language, as I told you. He is also compiler of Tamil grammar. Agastya has been a cultural hero in Tamil tradition. According to legend in Puranic and epic, the ascetic sage Agastya proposed to Lopamudra, a princess born in the kingdom of Vidarbha. Her parents were unwilling to bless the engagement because they are concerned that she won't be able to live with this lifestyle of Agastya, who was living in jungle, who was not having any house, and they were thinking that how this princess can live in jungle with a rishi who is not be able to give provide luxuries of a palace. But the legend says that Lopamudra accepted him as a husband, saying that Agastya has the wealth of aesthetic living. Her own youth will fade with the season, but Agastya's wealth of virtue that makes him right person for her. So therefore, Lopamudra was married to Agastya, and she became wife. But in other version, it was also said that after the marriage, Lopamudra said she demands Agastya to provide her basic comfort, and a demand that she cannot live in jungle like this, and a demand that ends up forcing Agastya to return to the society and earn wealth. So going forward, according to many legends, it is said that he loved his wife very much, and he considered this request. The two legend which is related to his ashram, it is said that he lived in many places in India, and according to few legend, it is said that northwest Maharashtra, on the bank of river Godavari, he was having a ashram near Nasik, and that still called as Agastya Puri. And sometimes historian also say that his ashram was at Uttar Pradesh, which is near Kannauj. And a part of this, there are many variation about his ashram where he lived. Some people say that he was having an ashram at Satpura range near Madhya Pradesh. In Ramayana, Agastya and Lopamudra as described as the living in Dandak Van in the south slope of Vindhya mountain. Ram God Ram praised Agastya as one who can do things which God finds impossible. So his aura, his personality was like that he was required by everyone when there is a very difficult aspect of any problem comes in front of him. So he praised him like this. He is also described, Ram also described that one sage Agastya asked Vindhya mountain to lower themselves so that sun, moon and living being could easily pass over. So he's also described as such as a sage who used his dharma to kill the demons, and there are many stories regarding this, and his role of spreading Vedic traditions, and Sanskrit is emphasized in many instances, while in South India tradition, his role is spreading irrigation, agriculture, and of course the development of Tamil language, which is emphasized by many historians. There's a very interesting story which goes how a North Indian sage Agastya shifted to South. It is said that once in Skand Puran that the whole world visited the Himalaya when Shiva was about to wed Parvati, and this caused earth to tip to one side. Then Shiva requested Agastya to go to South region to restore the equilibrium. So thus Agastya migrated to South and on Shiva's behest, and when you really go in South India and other southern part of Indian subcontinent, you will find many temples of Agastya. He is being prayed as a god in temples. Several Buddhist texts also mention Agastya about so many contribution in many of his deeds. Now, when we come towards his contribution, I was telling you that in several Buddhist texts mention Agastya, and in even Java and Sumatra, there's a mention of Agastya Rishi and his contribution in many of the texts. He was particularly popular in Java due to his teaching of Shiv and Siddharth, which is easily accepted by Jaivinian society. He introduced the Vedic science and the Sanskrit script in these areas. His mention is also found in Cambodia, Vietnam and other region. In early mention of Agastya is traceable to about 1st million CE, but in 11th century, Jaivinian language mentioned Agastya Parva, which is a remarkable combination of philosophy and mythology. I would also like to mention that he is also credited for inventing dry cell. For this, I mean, if you recall that most people give credit to Benjamin Franklin for discovery of electricity, and this is how Benjamin Franklin had been the greatest scientific mind of his time. He was interested in many areas of science and he made many discoveries, invented many things, including bifocal glass. And going forward, in 1880, when Karl Gassner, a German scientist, invented the first dry cell. But do you know that in ancient text of Agastya Samhita described the method of making electric battery, and that water can be split into oxygen and hydrogen, modern battery cells resemble Agastya method of generating electricity. For generating electricity, sage Agastya used the following material: one earthen pot, one copper plate, and copper sulfate, and wet sawdust, and zinc amalgam. He also mentioned in his book in a Sanskrit text, and the meaning of the Sanskrit text is that place a well cleaned copper plate in an earthenware vessel, cover it with by copper sulfate, and then moist, it is said then you moist the sawdust. After that, put a mercury amalgamated zinc sheet on top of the sawdust to avoid polarization. The contact will produce energy and known by the twin name of Mitra Varuna. Water will split by the current into Pranvayu and Udan Vayu. So this is how in Sanskrit text the whole process is being described. A chain of 100 zar is said to have given very effective force. When a cell was prepared according to Agastya Samhita and measured it, it gives open circuit voltage as 1.138 volt and short circuit current as 33 amps. So you see, the Augustus credited, he was a very great literary person. He has also great knowledge of gems and stone and how to make jewelry. A part of this, he's also credited of invention of dry cell making. So going forward, I would like to ask our viewers to share their ideas and their knowledge about this great sage of India, which is being popular, especially not only in North but also in South India. And we will find many temples of Agastya Rishi, especially in southern part of Indian subcontinent. So this was something which I wanted to share with you about Agastya. He is one of the greatest Saptarishi of Indian subcontinent, Indian history and Hinduism. So till next time we meet, I will look forward for your messages about this great Rishi of India. Till then, bye bye. Take care.
Hello friends, this is Akulmach live and I'm Chandrakant, and we are back on the challenge. And a few days back I had posted this challenge to the viewers, which is finding the area of this triangle. And there were few parameters also defined along with this challenge, which is that the problem has entangled with some surrounding squares, and you are supposed to understand what is the distraction and what is the real thing and solve this. So the area of the triangle needs to be calculated. Some of you had attempted, but let me go back to our solution time and use the whiteboard to find the problem to this solution. Let's look at it once again. This is a bunch of squares and rectangles here, and the challenge was to find the area of this triangle. All right, so let's go to our board and we will try and solve this problem. So here is a problem, and let's say this is a square, as we can see, and as defined in the problems also. The side of this square is equal to the width of this rectangle. It's very clearly defined in the problem. So if this side, let's say if we call it A, then let me just write it down. If this is, oops, let me write it. If this is A, then this is also A, and therefore this is also A. However, the side of the smaller rectangle will be B. Let's say if it is B. So to find the area of this triangle, we have to use a simple area formula, which is the height into base by half. We have discussed this in our previous problems also. The area of the triangle is half of height into base. So we already know what is the base of this triangle, which is A. We need to find the height of this triangle, and height of this triangle will be A minus B, because this side A is equal to this side also of this square, and B minus A will give us the height. So what we need to do is A minus B into A will be divided by 2 will be the area of this triangle. So if we have to write it down, we can write it down like this. I will create some space here first and write the area. One by 2. Let me shift this thing so that you can see. A minus B into A. This will be the area of this triangle that I had given you as a challenge to find out. It's a very simple solution. We can further reduce it. We can multiply A and it will become A square minus AB divided by 2. So we can further simplify it and we can find the final equation. But I think this is simple enough. If we attach a value to it, say for example, if A is equal to 2 and B is equal to 1, then straight away A minus B is 1, and 1 into 2 is 2 divided by 2, the area will be 1. So it's as simple as that. So friends, did you like the solution of this particular challenge, which is challenge number 2? And also let me know what is the other way of finding. There is one more way of finding the area of this triangle, and I expect you to get engaged with me by sending me comments. And also if you have any other way to solve this challenge, I'll be very happy to receive your solution. So I look forward to getting your solution, and I will also meet you in the next challenge. Until then, I'd like to say goodbye. Friends, scientists have been able to find a new structure in our own galaxy very close by to the sun. And, it is sort of a feather or a filament. That's what the scientists have called it. And it is a galaxy filament, which is, quite intriguing because, it is something which was debated. And for the first time, they are saying that the spiral arms of our galaxy are also connected with each other. And these feathers of filament between the spiral arms basically transfer the material, and they transfer gases and so on and so forth. So earlier the belief was the spiral arms were formed when the galaxy was formed, but now with this filament, which actually carries the material from one filament, one arm, to another one using this filament structure, it is like a super highway, or as in the Star Wars world, people used to call it like a hyperspace. So this is like a shortcut from one spiral to another one. And surprisingly, this is a huge structure. I mean, and for so long this was hidden. And I will tell you how they have been able to find it also. The first one which they have found now is almost like 6,000 to 13,000 light years long. It's a very big structure, and this is only estimated. That is why the exact figures are not there, because we don't know how long actually these filaments are. And this is the only one, or there are more available, or these filaments or feathers are common occurrence in our own galaxy, and also these are the common features of the galaxy per se. Now this one which has been found is pretty huge structure. It is almost the mass of this structure is estimated to about 8 million solar masses, which is twice as big as the central supermassive black hole. So this is a huge find, and this is for the first time, they have been able to detect a connection between one spiral arm of the galaxy to other one, and that is why they are calling it. They named it as Gangotri wave, and they're calling it as a wave because this carries material from one end of the spiral to the other spiral, and it is feeding into, if there are material available into one spiral arm of the galaxy, it is basically transferring that stuff to the next one, and it is actually feeding up or taking the material vice versa between the spiral arms. And why this has been called Gangotri? Because I think they have recognized what the ancient Hindus were saying or the Indians were saying, and so far it was treated as sort of a mythology. But I think if you remember, the Gangotri is a glacier which is primarily responsible for all the water which flows into Ganga river. And the story goes that there was no Ganga earlier, and there were some saints who actually worshipped the Lord Vishnu to send Ganga on earth so that cultivation can be done, and a lot of other things are there. I'm not going in depth of the story, but the whole point is that it is said in our scriptures that river Ganga came from space, and the force of the Ganga landing on earth was so massive, the earth would have shattered just by inviting Ganga onto the earth. So Lord Shiva basically, or Bhagwan Shiv, offered his presence there, and his hair actually stopped the flow of Ganga and make it calm so that it can flow nicely on the surface of the earth. But as you know, friends, that Ganga is responsible for the Ganges plateau or the Ganges plains, which is basically between Indus River and Brahmaputra River in the east. So on the west it's Indus River, in the middle is Ganga River, and on the east side is Brahmaputra. And this whole entire land, which is almost like 80% of India, is situated between these three mighty rivers, and Ganga being the most biggest of them. And the Ganga river has been given the title of a god also, because it has came down from space. Well, we can read all these mythical scripts. However, the ancients were trying to tell us something about the space. We can take this information and believe it as it is written in words, or try to analyze it and try to understand what they knew, which they were trying to tell us using these scripts. So I think this is something which has been found recently, and the surprising thing is, they were not even searching for such a structure, because for so long they have not seen anything between the spiral arms of the galaxy. So what they were doing is basically trying to find the gas. Now when it comes to gas, it's the carbon monoxide they were primarily looking for in the universe. And why the gas they were looking for? Because if the gas is cold, then it is associated with star formation. And now the hypothesis is, again, the estimated hypothesis is that these filaments are actually transferring gas from one end to the other, and the gas temperature is also colder, and it is basically responsible for building stars. So now the estimate is, or the assumption is, that the spiral arms are probably found in galaxies which are actually showing fresh star birth. So if there are a lot of stars being born or taking shape, you will see these spiral arms which will carry material, the filaments which will carry material from one spiral arm to other one. So this is the again assumption. And as you can see, this is a very close by structure, and it is very surprising that it was not seen so far. But since the scientists were looking for cold gas, and it is cold as about 1000 Kelvin, whereas the gas in the universe can be millions of degrees Kelvin. But this one is colder than rest of the universe and the gas which is available outside. So specifically when the scientists were looking for cold gas, they found this structure, and as you can see, it is very, very close to the sun, and it is connecting these spiral arms and carrying material from one end to the other. So this is very, very interesting and very intriguing finding, and now the research is getting on into the full swing, trying to find out if there are more structure like that, or if this is a part of an intriguing network within the spiral arm, whether this filament connects all the spiral arms within the galaxy, or it is just a one-off case. The research is on, and it is being, all the telescopes are basically focused on this part of our galaxy. And the surprising thing is that it is very close by, and it must be something which is very common structure within the galaxies. So I think we will hear more about it, and as and when we hear more about it, I will present and bring this as information to you. For today, I like to say goodbye, but if you have more information, do send in your comments. I will read each one of your comment and respond. And also, if there is something interesting information, I will present in the next multiverse section of Akulmach Live. Hello friends, this is Akulmach Live, and I am Chandrakant, welcoming you once again on the challenge section of our channel. And if you remember friends, I had posted a challenge which is related to a simple mathematical pattern, and we want to solve this challenge today. Although a lot of people replied, because once you crack that pattern, you can crack the problem. So let me go to the whiteboard, and this was a pattern which I had posted, and I asked my friends and the followers to solve this mathematical pattern. So as you can see, there is a pattern involving here in this particular problem, and the pattern is if you look at it, it is very evident that there is a pattern which is there, and if you crack that pattern, you know the answer. The pattern really is that the numbers on this side are really the numbers which are adding up. So the next problem is that, say for example, in the first line, if it is 3 plus 5 equal to 8, what the pattern is that there is one number which is getting added to this side, and so it is like 4 and 6. So you have added one number to this side. And when you add this 4 plus 6, you have actually 10 as an answer. So how come it has become 18? And that is where the next pattern which is emerging, which is we are adding this 8 also into this 10, and that's how it becomes 18. Similarly, the same thing is repeated in the next line. So you add 1 here on this side, which is 5 plus 7, which is 5 plus 7, but instead of 12, it is now 30. So obviously, as per the pattern, 18 plus 12 is 30, and that is why the pattern is emerging. So any guesses what will be the answer now? Since we know that the pattern is very, very simple. This was very, very simple problem to solve, friends. And I kept it very simple. So as long as people who watch the pattern carefully, they will be able to crack it in 2 minutes. And since now we know I've revealed that what is a pattern here, let me also go to the solution. So answer is 60. Because 7 plus 9 plus 44 is what you will get as answer as 60. So it's basically a pattern based problem, and I thought I will put this as a challenge. Let me see how many people look at these patterns in day-to-day life realistically, and if you can solve such patterns, there are numerous other types of patterns. If you can solve such patterns, you can also solve your daily life problems. So friend, let me end my challenge, answer to the challenge, which is challenge 4 today, and I will catch up with you in the next challenge. Until then, I like to say goodbye for today, only to catch you next time.
Hello friends, this is Chandra from Akulmach Technologies. Welcome to Top Brass. Today we would like to discuss about deportation of Member of Parliament in the UK Parliament, Debbie Abraham. And she got deported soon after landing into Indian airport without a valid travel document. So why a MP from UK flying to India without proper travel document, and they got deported because obviously no country will allow anyone to enter their shores without proper travel documents. So let's take a step back. Let's understand what are the different regulations which are followed by, in fact, all countries. I would say every country follows similar pattern, similar regulations which have been set up by the international bodies. The regulation is that when you travel from your home country to any other country, you go with a purpose. The purpose could be many purpose. You know, the purpose could be uh, recreation, travel, vacation. Purpose could be a short-term business trip, or a long-term employment possibility. So these are the 3 to 4 activities. There could be 1 or 2 more activities, like for example you're going on a research vessel, or you're entering temporarily because you are doing some research on a subject. So there are various classification which allows every country to get or welcome citizens of other countries. So when you get into even a tourist destination like Thailand or Mauritius, any country today, you have to always define, or you have to tell the visa officer that what is your purpose. Your purpose is vacation, and the visa officer will ask you for how many days you are going to live in my country, where are you going to stay, how you're going to carry on your take care of your expenses, and so on and so forth. Because no country will have a situation where the people from other countries come into their country without a purpose. No country will allow. So that is how the regulations which are followed by every country today, whether it is large country like United States or UK or India or China, you have to have a purpose, because you are now going out of your home country to another country, which is called foreign. So now, why a member of parliament come to India without proper document? So obviously, the Indian visa officers will reject her entry because she does not have a valid visa. And the best part is the Indian authorities tried to give her visa. They said, yes, we will give you the visa. You are most welcome to our country. But tell us your purpose. Tell us where are you going to stay. Tell us who you are going to meet. So these are very basic questions. Anyone who's traveled even once outside from their home country to any foreign land should have answers to these basic questions. And see the arrogance of this person. She says, I don't know anyone, and I do not know where I'm going to stay. I will find. but you give me the visa. So, so my friends, the point is how any country, a sovereign country, accepts this kind of narration and grant visa to somebody who comes without a purpose. After all, you are a UK citizen. You are entering a sovereign country like India. You have to give your purpose. You may be a member of parliament, but you should have a proper travel document. So I think this is where the situation is, and I'm aghast to see that there are people who are talking about that Indian government should have given her the visa. But you have to tell, you're a foreigner, you have to tell what is your purpose. Without saying what is my purpose, either it's a vacation or some business or some discussion, which country will allow you entry into their own, to a foreign person. So this is something which I wanted to bring to everybody's notice, and this is a discussion item. So I most welcome your comments, and I will try and reply to all your comments as quickly as possible. So as usual, I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Akulmach Live. I am Chandrakant. Have you ever given a thought about 98% people in the world today do not achieve their goals, and the successful people are only 2%? Why these people are so successful? We have analyzed, and we want to bring this whole discussion to you today. There are 6 elements which we will discuss and explain to you one by one. Before we start our discussion, I must tell you that there is a QR code right now, which is on display here. You can just point your camera on this QR code and instantly get connected to our channel. So I will be joining you after a short break. Don't go anywhere. This is a very interesting show coming up right now. Welcome back, friends. I am Chandrakant.
I'm Kanchan, and today we are discussing very crucial aspect of success, and that is passion. Why passion? Because if we don't love doing something, we are not able to get success in life. Because passion drives us, and passion is important because we should love what we are doing. As you see, Chandra, you love making shows, so it is good, and you put your heart and soul in that, and that is the definition of success. So when we are passionate, because nature has given us all attributes. Few people are kind, few people are good in maths, few people are good in running, and if somebody is good in maths and end up in doing a marketing job or something which he or she doesn't like, he will not get success, and part of this she or he will not be happy doing. So I think it's very, very crucial to really have passion in life to get success. That is the ultimate one point which everybody should think about it and do their jobs and do their work towards getting happiness out of this passion, and you have to develop that passion, right?
Absolutely, Kanchan. Passion is the most important attribute that one should have, any entrepreneur. But I think after you have got the passion, you know exactly what you love to do. You have to set up a goal.
Right.
Because if you don't set up a goal, then you will be wandering your life aimlessly. Every successful person has a goal. You have to define a goal, definitely, whether it is a 5-year goal or a 10-year goal or a life goal. A goal has to be defined by every entrepreneur or everyone. Even a student must have a goal. A manager must have a goal. A chief executive must have a goal, and so on and so forth. So I think the goal is the second most important attribute of attaining success. Kanchan, don't you think so?
Yes, definitely. And when we're talking about goal, and you see, goals, once you achieve that goal, there are many goals. So there are sub goals, and then there's the main goal. So actually, this journey starts with small success and ultimately getting a larger success. And for that, we have to do, should have a strength, we should have grit to achieve something, right, Chandra?
Yes, grit is also very, very important attribute of success. It is basically your ability to, or your strength to handle failures. Because once you have defined goal, the path towards that goal is not a straight road. It is always a winding road. And how much strength you have, how many failures you can, you will face and still get up. You fall, you get up and get back on the road, and so on. So that is why the ability or your inner strength to handle failure is also very important. And I think it is the responsibility of everyone, every individual, every human being, every professional to develop this inner strength to handle rejection, to handle failures, because failures is what will make you more strong, resilient, and then you will start looking at your goal much more clearly.
Well, yes, because if you don't fail, the success will never come. And any point of time, we have to fail to rise again. So that is something very, very crucial. And as everybody says, failure and success is part of 2 coins. So we'll not be very happy when we are successful, and we shouldn't be very sad when we are a failure, because I think that is a stepping stone. Once we fail, we know how to really overcome our weaknesses, and for that we need planning. Now when we are talking about planning, what happens, I've seen it is applicable not only to CEOs or professionals, it is also applicable to the parents, to the children, because we dream, or parents dream, that their children should become maybe a bureaucrat. But what planning they have done, they have realized the passion of the child in themselves, or they have done a suitable, they have managed a suitable environment to make a child a bureaucrat or a scientist or a space astronaut. No, at the moment, I think parents don't do that. So planning is very, very essential to get success, to be successful, and all leaders in the world, they have done planning before executing that plan. And there has to be one plan A, plan B, because we cannot be sad about once we get failure. So planning step by step how I will be doing. And I think life is living life is an art, and when we see living life as an art, so passion comes into it, and then planning becomes a very crucial aspect of it, right, Chandra?
Absolutely, Kanchan. In fact, planning has much more deeper and much more profound impact on your life, because you may plan based on the input that you get today, but that plan may change because of the future inputs that you start getting it in the future. So if you have a plan, then the life is easier, because you know that you have a long-term plan which is broken down into a short-term plan, and then eventually you have a daily plan. So everything is now driven to the goal that you have set up for yourself, and that is why planning is very important. And number 5 thing, which is also very important, is hard work. Kanchan, I think you're the best person who can talk about hard work.
Now, hard work doesn't mean that you just slot yourself day and night. Hard work means that you do planned working towards the goal. Now, if you want to achieve, maybe you want to become a basketball player. So for that, you have to discipline your life. You have to rise early. You have to do daily practice. You can't skip any practice. You have to find out the new rules of the game. You have to go for the competition. So these are all the milestones which you have to do, and this requires a hard work. There should not be a strain of laziness. Once your goal is clear, you have passion, and then planning is all set. So hard work is a part of it. So it's very, very essential to work towards that goal, and for that you have to work with a planned manner.
In fact, you have all got all the passion that you decided that you want to achieve this particular goal passionately, but if you don't work towards it, it is of no meaning. So if you see all the entrepreneurs, they actually work very hard. They put in 12 hours every day. So you need to really buckle up and start putting that hard work into your business or your goal that you want to achieve. Without hard work, goal look further and further away from it. So you need to start putting as much as you can hard work towards achieving that goal. And number 6 point, which is very important, is having a very good support network. Kanchan will talk about enlighten us about the value of having a support network.
Well, as I mentioned, that life is an art, and when we think of passion, we think of living life in a style. Then support system plays a very valuable role, because we all are given one attribute, which is inherent by birth. We can be good in one subject, we can be not good in another, but we have to realize that where we are good and what are our weaknesses, and for that we need families and friends to cooperate us. And when family and friends should also be prepared to go into that cycle of the same path one individual want to achieve. So anybody who has set a goal should listen to the advices, and anybody who is helping the conqueror, who wants to, the one who wants to conquer, should help every and on every step, should guide. A guidance should be proper. So that means the whole family unit or the community unit should be synced with that kind of idea. And that is very, very important, because all knowledge, all path is being created for that winner through the family and the friends. So that is also very important, to have a support system, which always, even if you are failure, there are people who will help you. And again, they will ask you to please go ahead. We are with you. We are standing with you. So that is, I think, number one attribute which is required for a winner. So all these combination makes a successful personality, and people, whatever they dream, they achieve sooner or later.
So, ladies and gentlemen, these are the 6 vital attributes required by every successful person in business, in education, in studies, in personal life, and also anything else you want to do in your life, whatever you have set up your goal in your life or life. An interesting discussion we had today. So if you follow these 6 advices that we have tried to give it to you, which is passion, goal, grit or strength, inner strength, planning, hard work, and having a support network of family and friends, there is no doubt that you will be able to set up a proper goal for yourself and also succeed in life. So friends, I look forward to your comments. Do engage with us, and based on your comment, we will try to bring you live with us next time in the next event. But for now, I like to say goodbye for today.
Hello, friends. This is Chandrakant from Akulmach Technologies. And this Friday, I would like to welcome all viewers on the edition of CEO Roundtable. And we have very distinguished panel today. I will introduce our first panelist, Mr. Satya Madala. He is a CEO of a very emerging and pioneering company, which is known as Single Point Solution. Welcome to CEO Roundtable, Satya.
Thank you very much, CK. So thank you very much for introducing me to this panel.
Most welcome. Now, our second panelist is Mr. Neval Gund. He is the chairman of Mindfit Limited from UK, and he has a vast experience of working with global organizations, and now he is helping young population of the world, works with many companies across the world, and he also works with us. Welcome to CEO Roundtable, Neville.
Good morning, CK. Good morning, everybody. Looking forward to an interesting discussion. I'm sure it'll get heated because it's about the future of the world, not just individual countries.
Certainly, Neville. Our next guest is Ms. Farida Charania. She is joining us from Singapore, and she is the CEO of HR organization known as Career Zoom. So, welcome to the panel, Farida.
Thank you, CK. Lovely to meet all of you again, and hello to all our viewers.
And our last panelist is Ms. Kanchan Verma. She is the CEO of Akulmach Technologies, and she's from India. Welcome, Kanchan.
Hello, thank you, CK, and good morning, good afternoon to everybody. How are you doing?
Great. So now, after the brief introduction, let me start the discussion. So today's discussion is about the skills gap. And let me explain what is skill gap. See, we are all talking about India in particular, and we can discuss the global influence on India or versa. The industry was moving very fast, and there was always a gap in the skills which are being churned out from the industry or from the universities. So that gap was existing in our industry across all multiple segments of business. After the pandemic, the skills gap has even broadened. So we thought that today is a very special day when Prime Minister of India came on TV and he announced the new education policy, changing from the year-old 10 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, whatever it was, to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 5. So this roll out in India, and it will have unprecedented, I would like to use this word, what Neville used, changes in the next generation, which is going to come out from India in terms of the skills, because the skills will be imparted early on. So the point of discussion today is the skills gap that exists in India, and I would like to invite Satya and ask this question because he is day in day out grappling with this situation, because he is a CEO of multiple companies, and across all tech work that his companies does, he faced this issue. So Satya, what is your opinion on this discussion point that we are talking about?
Yeah, CK, like coming, when we are entering into this topic, I wanted to address it.
So Kanchan, I think we have lost line with Satya. Would you like to take this question?
Yes, I feel the skill gap is real, and there are so many problems employer are facing due to skill gap, and this leads to unemployment. And with this pandemic, it's on. So the new digitization is done, and due to this digitization, also many people, many professionals are not comfortable because they are not one to one. They are not talking one to one. They're not able to do that, and that's why they feel that they are not having a real time interaction with the people. Now when we talk about skill gap, there are people are professional, they really have the knowledge, but then there are few things which are missing out. Like for example, if we take a technology person was not able to put forward his ideas and how he want to convince people when it comes to taking up the business. So this is a very real thing, and it's very painful also, because people have the ability, but there's something which is missing and they are not able to put forward and take up the decision and do a productive contribution.
Okay, so Farida, I think you have also worked in India, and then although you have moved out of India for many years, but you have a lot of connections with the industry here, and also in Singapore and also in UK. And I'm sure this is a common subject across all countries. There is always a skills gap in India. Obviously, there is a skill gap, but I'm sure there is skill gap everywhere. So, what is your opinion about whether this situation is real or it's just a myth?
I think there are no myths because this is real, and we feel the pain because we feel the pain when suddenly because some geographies are very good in certain skills and some geographies are not that advanced in those skills. They still have developmental areas. And today, when the easy travel is being, kind of completely controlled or it's almost shut down for so many months, we feel the pain. So I think, firstly, my humble opinion is that it's not a myth; it's a real problem. Secondly, if you speak about India in particular, there are a lot of skills in terms of execution skills. So there are a lot of ideas. There are skills to execute that, but I think the gap which I see, and this has been my experience speaking to my peers in the industry across border, that the most strategic middle layer, so it's not the top layer but the most strategic middle layer is really missing, because I think either there are people who are very probably would like to take a lead and they can actually formulate an idea, have a vision, and then there are people who will probably do those things. But the key component where I see a gap is that skill to bring all of that together. The curator of results, basically somebody who will speak the lingo on both sides, is missing. So, and that's a real problem. That's a real gap that I see.
So let me ask this question from Naval, because Naval is the most experienced among the panelists today. He has a lot of experience working with multiple global organizations. So Naval, what do you think right from beginning when you started your career many years back till today or till yesterday, did you feel any skill gap while working with your colleagues?
Well, it's a fascinating question, and both Farida and Kenshin mentioned the pain. This isn't a myth; it's a reality. There is pain in what organisations are doing. We feel it throughout the organisations. People, even if they've got a fantastic idea, they can't get that message over. They can't explain themselves to get other people enthused about it. I mean, it's quite clear. It's quite clear that they're enthused and excited, but other people aren't. And we've only got to look at, you asked me, go back all those years. Let's all go back all those years. Let's all go back to the classroom. When we were sort of 5, maybe 6 years old, and we're sitting in the classroom, and the teacher asked for a volunteer. Did you volunteer? I did. I was always volunteering for everything. No, there you go. You see, we've got one honest member of the panel this morning, and it starts then, because if you volunteer, you've got something different. It's nothing about this isn't about academics. The skills gap isn't about being academic. It's about having those soft skills and the other things that underpin those soft skills, like volunteering. What makes you volunteer? Well, I was excited. I wanted to learn things. So I would always be first. So my hand would always go up. You end up being the teacher's pet if you're not careful. But that's up to the teacher to say, no, you've had your chance, Neville. Let someone else have a go. But the point is, you've only got to walk into a classroom today and walk into doesn't matter what classroom you walk into. And I recommend anyone does this, actually. Go into a classroom, ask permission, walk into a classroom, and be introduced and ask a question, and just see the spark in their eyes, because they'll all have a spark, but some will have a bigger spark than others, and they're the ones with the right attitude, They're the ones with the confidence, with that resilience. They don't have a fear of failure, as we might call it these days. They don't even know what failure is, frankly, because they couldn't explain it, even if they saw it. But just look at it and you'll find about 10% will volunteer. Now, that's not good enough, frankly. That is really not good enough for the future of organisations, for the future of the country. So although India has gone through this massive restructuring in the education arena, my guess is it's still academically focused. But the question for the panel is, we're talking about skills gap here. Is it an academic skills gap or is it something else?
So I think Satya is back online. Satya, we lost you at a very important juncture where we were asking about what challenges you face because of the skill gaps across your multiple companies that you have. Would you like to take that question?
Looks like we're having a few problems. Maybe the monsoon has hit.
So I think we will ask this question from Satya once his voice is enabled. So we are trying to get this voice patched up. In the meanwhile, to answer your question, Neville, I saw the entire news today, and what the Indian government is trying to do is bridge a gap between academics and the extra skills that people are required to lead their life. So what was happening all these days is that there was a stigma which was created for last 70 years after we got independence, that if you're not doing this, then you're nothing, you're not good enough. And that stigma was created by everyone in the society, by the society itself. We can't blame anyone. It is how the society evolved. And now we have realized this. I think it's not today's realization. It was realized 30 to 40 years back. But the government of the day today had guts to change it. And I think we discussed some time back that because the students are not in school, there is nobody in colleges. So I think this is the right time to make the change. So that is why the government is making all the changes here. And the streams of the students based on their skill sets will be decided early on in their life. And they don't have to wait till they become adolescent or go to college to determine what they want to do in life. Like for all of us, it was like that. We study because we will get a job. But now in the new system, it will not be entirely academic. So I think that is what I'm gathering from reading and also watching the news.
Just I wanted to add one more point, CK here. The thing is, like the institutions, actually, the universities or colleges, just they need to take a rapid step to improve the skills. Actually, they are more concentrating on academics. I don't think they are concentrating more on improving the skills. So simply, actually, just even as you said, like the society, and they are looking at actually what is the rank the candidate is getting, and what the marks they are getting, and what is the percentage. So they're concentrating much on it, but they're not concentrating on communication skills and technology skills, and they're not trying to improve practical skills, wherein actually you see if you take Hyderabad, so people actually, there was so many institutions who is training on this IT skills, but they're not they're training them and sending them out. But actually, they're not looking at how the candidate is coming out with some sort of experience. So they're not looking at people. Actually, even society or parents or the institutions or government, everybody, they need to take a rapid step to improve the skills. So practical skills, actually, it requires some infrastructure also. Not only from these institutions, even from a government side also, they need to provide some sort of. If you take a China, actually, I have some Chinese friends out there. So just they created infrastructure, and if the candidate wanted to go into some sort of sector, so they can go and train in the labs, and they can apply their mind and improve their skills. But when it comes to India, to improve their skills, so colleges or government or society, they're required to provide some sort of infrastructure to improve their skills. So that's what I found in Indian market, wherein actually it is possible. It is possible, and wherein actually it won't take much. Like financials are. It won't take much time also, but they need to provide some sort of infrastructure towards to that the candidate practical what you call like a practical things required to improve their skills from the candidate side. So my observation is wherein actually when I call somebody, we are maintaining some domestic placements also, domestic resource placement. But when it comes to actually candidates are quite well, and so they are able to just pass their some sort of levels, but very less people, say almost 60%, 60 to 65%, they're failing at practicals. So if they can concentrate on that area, so you can close the gap. So the skill gap can be closed in that way.
So, Satya, let me ask you this question. You have raised a very important point that the source. So, there is always a demand and supply. So, in case of human resources, also there is a demand and supply.
Yes.
And obviously, supply is coming from the colleges and universities.
Yes.
And our experience is that they are not doing enough. So, I think one of the point which has been highlighted today is that the universities have to change their curriculum. I think with the new education policy, I think that will fall in place. But today we do not have a solution. So let's discuss about today. Satya, your organization, yourself, you are well known globally. You are among the top 30 recognized technical person globally. Your companies are doing pioneering job. You have realized the opportunity at early stage, and you're trying to bring the change to the people for India as well as around the globe. So what you need as a company to succeed, because obviously you need people, you need skills, you need infrastructure, you need government. So what is that you need from the skills perspective to make your company successful?
See, here again, coming to this point, actually we required some sort of experienced guys in the market to come up with the new products. But the problem here is everybody is concentrating on particular sector. Not that it is not enough from the candidate side. Candidates should be trained on known technologies and different technologies, and we require a multi-talented people. So the institutions are actually the colleges or universities. Just they're particularly concentrating on particular technology. Not that it is not enough at all. So nowadays actually in IT, if you take IT, um, actually the technologies are overlapping. So the plugins, whatever the companies, Microsoft or other companies, they are coming. Actually, they are coming up with the overlap plugins. So to manage that, the particular skill set is not enough. So people, actually candidates, required to train on multi skills, multi technologies. So that's what we required for the companies, and particularly for a product-based company. So product-based company, what they do is when they architect the product, actually they bring a multi-technology into the product. So when we require actually a particular technology, so we cannot hire a multi-technology people. Actually, we can hire multi-technical people. So multi-talented people and the multi-technology people we require as a company. So we are feeling the gap in the market. At the same time, we are wasting our time by training them in the particular technology and in a particular that plugin or whatever the technology they are coming up with. So we are training them. We are wasting our time. Even if I keep my 90 days time on the particular training, so we are losing our time. So it is costing us a lot, and at the same time, particularly it's a time. So it is impacting our deliveries, product deliveries. So I require a people who can work on a multi technology, wherein actually that is lacking in the market right now. So government or universities or private bodies who are training on this. So if they can concentrate on that area, so they can fill up the gap. That's what my view.
I think it's a fair demand from the education industry, since you're an entrepreneur. So I would like to now invite Kanchan to the discussion here, because Kanchan works with a lot of education institutes and universities. So Kanchan, you have heard other panelists saying that there is always a gap between the skills which are required and what business needs. So what would be your advice to the universities in India specifically, what they should do? Because you've heard Satya as well. He is looking for specific trained person, and he doesn't want to waste time in training him, basically hiring him, then training him, and then making him productive.
Before I come to the point which you are asking, I would like to add 2 points that every individual should be taught a kind of have growth outcome. He should be should able to see that I have to grow, and then he has the ability to take up the feedback also. And this kind of soft skills start only at a very early age in the schools. And what I feel is nowadays soft skills are not should be treated lightly. They have few of them have become a hard skill, and they should be taught properly in the academics. It should be, it's not like a recess period or like a game period, where the children chill out and they don't take things very seriously. So I feel that time has come that people should know the growth potential. They should understand how to grow, and this kind of feeling, its kind of attitude should be inculcated when they are very young. Not, it should not start at the colleges only, it should start in the school only. So by the time they are out from their education, they know the adaptability skill, they know how to take up feedback positively. So all these things will add to this skill gap, and they can decrease it. And here the hard skill and soft skill, they should go hand in hand. And I can very well understand the pain of Mr. Satya, because he is running companies, and then he is not able to find out the exact skill set for the service or the product he want to have. So I feel that time has come. Universities and all schools should take up these things very, very seriously. Now, I have come across in one place in Hyderabad that one school is started in sixth standard animation. So animation they can start, but they can't. Why can't they start the courses like communication, listening, which is very, very essential part of developing a skill. If you are not able to listen, then you are not able to be productive later on. So I feel that time has come, and all depends on the universities to take up these studies. I genuinely feel that all soft skill, leaving couple of them, they should come into the hard skill. parameter, not just soft skill, and it is not like a free period in a school and just chilling out time. No, it is a very, very serious subject, and it's it should be taken seriously, not in India, but in other countries also. We require these kind of subjects and seriousness.
So, as per Kanchan, the soft skills are no longer called soft skills. These are all hard skills. But to address what Satya is talking about, his pain point, I think there has to be a forum where the new skill sets should be given like a list from the business, and universities should pick up those skills which are 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and then churn out these trained people, so that people like Satya, and there are so many other companies across India, across the world, can leverage this new trained resource skill pool. So, Farida, we are discussing mostly in India, and you are a very your personality is very unique, because you work with Indians and you work with Singaporeans, and you also work with people from England. So, what do you think we should do to resolve this issue? There are some certain solutions coming out from this panel, but from your point of view, what we should do?
Sure, I think this is an interesting discussion. Couple of things here. One, I am delighted with the changes in education system in India, because it is now aligned to how the rest of the world and the most successful education systems like Finland, England, Singapore, these are the most successful systems which are exactly in this manner. So I think it is one. This is the first step in getting Indians ready towards globalization. Also, another thing is that the scaling is required to where the puck is going, not where the puck already is. So I feel that, well, I mean, there are a lot of solutions, but my opinion is that at this point in time, I would add to what Kanchan is saying, that soft skills are no longer, something that can just be left. And if somebody is really smart and, like Neville said, volunteers in class to sing the national anthem, you just kind of go with them. There has to be a conscious effort to start developing these skills, because yes, listening is very important. Again, that's a skill which people underestimate. But if you don't listen, you will not understand, and if you don't understand, you will not be productive. So there are a lot of with this education change, there will be some time of adjustment, and then eventually things will start falling into place. And I'm actually quite optimistic that it would fall in place. But for parents also, it's important that don't just kind of think that once you send them for an IT course, they'll find a job and that's it, because there is a serious gap between the people who have the vision and the people who execute. There is a serious gap of somebody who can project manage all of this. And if we actually kind of address that question of soft skills, then this is something which will get aligned to quite an extent. And then ideas are cheap, execution is everything. So let's see how this goes forward and how this gets executed.
In fact, the Prime Minister Modi said exactly the same thing. He said, coming out with a plan on a paper is one thing, but executing it is another thing. So I think he's working with the ministers today. He's having a very big press conference along with all the ministers, and asking them to roll out this policy, because I think this is the right time to roll out the new, we call it NEP, National Education Policy. So with this, let me go back to Satya, because Satya is running a company. One of his companies called Single Point Solution, which is all about the EV vehicles. EV stands for electric vehicles, and also the EV charge solution. So he's pioneering in this area. He has got the whole setup. But I think his problems, I believe as a professional myself, that his problems are multiplied, simply because even the government has announced certain curbs on applications from China, but still a lot of stuff is available. In Satya's space, there is a competition. So while he has got a situation where there are not enough skills people available, at the same time he has got a competition from China. So I would like to know his opinion, uh, what his suggestion to the government of India would be.
Yes, okay. Now, actually, my suggestion not only to government, actually, my suggestion I wanted to bring forward to parents. That means actually, society and educational institutions, wherein actually, they are. You see, the candidates, students, they are more with the college or university. Almost 70 to 80% of their life they spend with the college or a school or something, and they spend some little time with the parent, because when they come back to house, actually they'll spend some time with the parent. When it comes to candidate, actually, so they need to motivate in a certain level. Actually, everybody needs to take their time. It's a parent or the teacher who is leading the class, or the university, whoever is taking that take lead. So, and at the same time, government. Now, first comes to actually parent. Parents required to motivate them to go in certain direction. Then after that, actually, they need to take a suggestion from class teacher or whoever is leading the. And the third one needs to take care by government. Now, when it comes to, say, for example, if the parent, taking them to some direction, wherein actually teacher or lecturer, professor will take care of them to, grow them in that particular area, and government requires to provide some sort of infrastructure. So, with the combination of the three, like we can get a good skilled people in India. So this is what my brief suggestion to everybody to fill the gap in the skill sets. So actually, first required, as Kanchan said, like the student or the candidate required to motivate them in what direction they wanted to go. So nowadays, actually, they can go in any direction and they can and they can get the job. No, there is no limitation. So there is no limitation for the skills. There is no limitation for the opportunities. So just motivate them, what direction they can go and take the opportunity. So that's what we require to, send the message to society as well as the colleges and government. That's what my opinion on this skill gap.
Excellent, Satya. So I think let us ask the last opinion from Neville, because Neville is a very senior person recognized in the industry, is also well known globally in the change management arena. So Neville, I think we will leave the stage to you for making the last comments.
Thanks, CK. I'm not too sure about the prominence of my experience here, but however, Satya mentions motivation. And he mentioned it so many times, you would think that we all know how to motivate people, because he says it with a passion. And the reality of life is we do not know how to motivate people. Parents don't know how to motivate themselves, let alone motivate their children. And this is where we start with a problem. And it was the reason that I started Your Passport to Grow, because there's a massive gap in the marketplace. It's not that education doesn't value these soft skills. They do value them. They believe that it is a byproduct of being in school. So just like you would do in a network, everyone gets together and they start communicating and things happen. Well, the school has that same type of theory. It is a theory. Because for some people, that's all you need. As I said, walk into a school and look at 6, 7, 8-year-olds and go in and ask for a volunteer. You won't get many. And that's the issue. If you don't get many at that time, as they go further and further in their life, the numbers reduce. They don't increase, they reduce. So the satyrs of this world, the real go-getters, the entrepreneurs, the ones that are basically saying, I'm an engineer, I've got an idea, I'm going to go and make it happen, is diminishing just because of actually the education system. It's not a fault of the education system, it just happens because that's what happens. So as I say, education values these, but they don't know how to deliver it. And we don't deliver soft skills, we don't get better at soft skills in an hour's discussion, you know, once or twice a term or twice a year in your discussion groups at school. You do not learn to be a good communicator in a couple of hours. It takes a lot of practice, as we've seen with people expressing their views on here. You know, the more practice you do, the better you get at it. But who knows what's the right practice? And the thing is, a lot of these knowledge transfer, which education is, it's a knowledge transfer. There's a bit of knowledge going in, the learning happens, you do your homework, you get a result, you do your exam, and you find out how good you are. That's knowledge transfer. They call that the Kirkpatrick method. But it doesn't actually work in the world of soft skills, because knowledge actually is only gained by doing it. And our problem is we don't know how to do it. And as I'll go back to my example, going into a classroom of 6 or 7 year olds, the ones that have got really good attitude are the ones that volunteer. That's what we need to be motivating. How do we keep that level of volunteering up all the way through their life? How do we change the ones that are shy or reserved to say, do you know what, if I don't volunteer, I'm not going to learn anything? So it's changing that attitude, really, of fear to excitement. And going back to what Satya said about motivation, the ones that are really motivated are excited. The ones that aren't motivated are fearful. It's as simple as that. And the nice thing about the vocabulary and the English dictionary and the English alphabet is that E comes before F. So get excited and forget about the fear. So stay with E, excited, be excited. And if you can't be excited, find out how to get excited. And this is where I think parents have got a huge job here. From the day we're born, our parents really should be saying, go and explore, go and be excited. And again, letter E, stay on the letter E, forget the F. Stay with the letter E, be excited, go and explore. Go and have fun. That's the only letter F you really should be worried about. It's a really difficult arena, and I'm not belittling it by any stretch of the imaginations, but it's so important that we start to get this better. Some people are getting it right, as we see, otherwise we wouldn't have those volunteers. We wouldn't have the satyrs of this world, the evangelists that are out there. So somewhere along the line, we're getting it right. All we need to do is find out that chemical reaction that's happened and do more of it. Sounds simple, but actually when you start to do it, it really is. So that's why, you know, we created Your Passport to Grow, simply because we take people on that experience that other people don't get. And at the end of the day, what is the bottom line here? And the bottom line is self-leadership. So that's what we're developing in everybody. The ability to be a leader in any circumstance. So that's the big picture, if you like, CK. Been a pleasure to see everyone today, every smiley faces, everyone changing the world. So we need to go and do more of it.
Absolutely. In fact, I like the example that you mentioned about E and F, which is like excitement and fun. I don't know about other things. So excitement and fun. I think that is a point in our panel discussion today. Let me summarize. I think one of the need of the hour for India specifically is that the government is also already working on changing the education system. I think that will be for good. But I think the universities and education institutes have a huge responsibility to make sure that for next couple of years, next 3 to 5 years, they actually change their attitude towards education. They start looking at what is needed by the industrialists so that the Indian story can propel forward. And I think, as Kanchan mentioned and Farida also, that uh, the summary of the entire discussion today is that the soft skill is no longer a soft skill and it's a hard skill. So I think at that point we can end, and that is the message we want to give to our viewers, that make sure that you have all the soft skill and think it is not a soft skill, it's really required, necessary for you to succeed. So with this, I'd like to thank all the panelists today, Neville, Satya, Farida, and Kanchan, for joining us today. And we will catch up in the next CEO Roundtable again.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.